One of the things I took from my father's workshop after he died was rope. He had a lot of it. Nylon and hemp, coiled and hanked. That was the word he used. Hanked. I took it all, without thinking much about the symbolism. I also took what he called a coffin hoist, a come-along ratchet winch. This spring, I'm using these tools to make some trees stand up. Technically, these are the neighbor's trees. My wife's position is that Jed, the neighbor, should just cut these failed cedars down. This is an astonishing assertion. She loves trees with a fierceness that makes me jealous. She mourned the loss of a craggy, ant-infested apple tree we cut down a while back, and she's been saying goodbye, limb by scabrous limb, to a scrofulous mountain ash in our front yard. But these cedars, bowing down at the edge of the lot, to her, are as good as dead. "I'd like to screw an eye into that tree," Jed says to me one day. We're standing at the edge of the driveway. I smile at the linguistic strangeness of this statement. He means an eye bolt. And I tell him, no, that would be impossible. "Then we could pull those cedars upright," he says. That we could pull those trees upright by hand and then tie them off, I seriously doubt. But the more important sticking point is the tree in question, the anchor tree, a large cottonwood nearly 3 feet in diameter, 9 feet in circumference, a viable tree, close enough to our driveway to be ours. In truth, it is a miserable tree, a dirty tree, but my wife loves it. To screw an eye into that tree would be to inflict bodily harm and possibly let death in. She will have none of it. Jed and I table the measure, or so I think. A few days later, I look out and I see his stepladder leaning against the tree, and 5 or 6 wraps of white 3/4-inch nylon rope around the trunk, at eye level. "Well, that's an eyesore," my wife says. I tell her it's a compromise. I tell her about the eye bolt he wanted to screw into the tree, and she goes ballistic. "He does these things," she says, "just to make me angry." I tell her I don't think so. A week goes by. Our driveway is covered with brown cottonwood pods. It looks like the tree is raining turds, and the stepladder is still there, and the white rope wrapped around the tree, disappearing ineffectually into the little grove of decrepit cedars, is still there. My wife has decided these trees must die. "He just wants to straighten them up," I say. "Don't you? You love trees." "He should cut them down. They'll never stand again," she says. In physics, what little I had, in the section on strength of materials, I learned about fatigue. Over time, repeated loads on a material cause stress, and materials have a stress limit. Exceed that limit, and fatigue occurs. Cracks, loss of tensile strength. Fatigue is permanent. Materials do not recover from fatigue, even when rested. Think of a rubber band that's overstretched and has lost its boing. "Why do you care?" she asks me. Because I don't want to look over there and see nothing. I want them to stand up. At the risk of getting psychological about it, maybe a short person values tall things and reacts with a natural sense of awe. I am short. It can be difficult for a man, particularly a young man, to be short, just as it can be difficult for a woman, particularly a young woman, to be tall. These past weeks, I've noticed the posture of a woman in one of my classes. Trudy is my best student. Whatever I suggest she try, she does and quickly masters. In her writing, there is energy, invention, clarity, and wit. Every day when she walks into class, I notice how she carries herself. She has tall girl hunch. I also notice her reserve, such diffidence in this capable person. She's more than shy. I wonder what happened. One day she says she has a twin. I picture these two women together, Trudy and Judy, walking side by side, making themselves smaller on purpose. When I ask her what her plan is one day, she smiles and lowers her head. I notice the tiny, shiny silver dot in her cheek, a piercing. It's nice. She says she wants to be an art teacher. I tell her she will be a marvelous teacher, and she will be. But what I want to say is, Trudy, be full size. A few days pass. I decide to address the trees. At Joann Fabrics, I buy a length of nylon webbing, like the safety strap on a car seat, like the shoulder strap on Trudy's backpack. It's an inch in diameter, 10 feet long. Gray would match the cottonwood bark. Joann's does not have gray. I settle for black.